Episode 77, Nerdy News and Stuff.
Welcome to the Visionary Variety Podcast, where we cover cool stuff like photo, video, film, books, and technology. So switch on your brain and enjoy the show. Welcome to the Visionary Variety Podcast. I am Daniel Grove, one of the hosts of the show, and also on this episode we have with us Nate Gunn.
Hey.
And Angela Brock.
Howdy do.
All right, so if you're a nerd, if you're a geek, you know that last week a bunch of stuff just dropped from the San Diego Comic-Con, a bunch of Marvel announcements and other things. So we're going to talk about those, but we're also going to talk about some other current stuff going on with movies that are out, movies that are coming up, some TV shows, and really cool stuff that is happening in the entertainment industry. All right, so let's get started. Last week, Lion King came out, and I've heard a lot of negative stuff about it. What about you guys?
I have too. Yeah, no, I've heard a lot, but everybody's like, this is so great, but nothing like what I thought. And I was like, what?
Uncanny Valley animals. Almost a shot for shot.
Yeah, have y'all seen it?
I have not.
Yeah, I haven't either. I'm not super crazy about going to see it. I don't know. 52% on Rotten Tomatoes,
Wow.
7.2 out of 10 on IMDb, and
That's
3
sad.
out of 5 Common Sense Media. I'm not sure who that is. Google told me that, so.
Okay.
I guess it's going to be kind of like when we saw Solo. It was kind of the same thing. Everybody's like, it's trash, garbage. And I saw it. I was like, it was great.
Yeah, I love Lion King. I'm not going to hate it until I really see it, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying I haven't heard a bunch of thrilling reviews. One guy, he's like, basically this was just an ad for Beyonce's new album.
Oh, no.
I don't know how true that is, but it was funny. I've heard other people complain about Beyonce's spotlight. Like, she can sing, she's great, be in the soundtrack, but did she have to be a voice actor?
No. They just do that old Disney magic where they get like the voice actors to do the whole movie and the singers just to do the songs.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
different voice.
Yeah.
Something that caught my eye that I found interesting was the music, which of course is a huge part of The Lion King. Back 25 years ago, Hans Zimmer did the original soundtrack, and he's back again to reprise his role as Hans Zimmer.
Nice.
That must have been an easy job for him because he already had all the sheet music, right?
Yeah, if he's doing
He
the
had the
same
songs
exact
written.
music.
25 years later of experience. He's like, I'm back.
Yeah. Oh, being Hans Zimmer, can you imagine? Like, how could he get any better?
Exactly.
But
Right.
I thought it was really cool because he actually told Disney, he's like, hey, I'm going to use African musicians for this soundtrack. We're going to be authentic. We're going to give some love to Africa and give some spotlight to some African artists, which I think is awesome.
That's
And
cool.
yeah, normally Disney would be hiring local, musicians that are just professional studio musicians. They're not big names or anything like pop stars, but they're professionals in the studio world. So normally they would hire those big names there. No, we're going to use African musicians. We're going to use Black musicians. There's a group here in America actually called the Recollective Symphony, and it's an all-Black symphony who some of the members have split and gone to do different projects. But because of Hans Zimmer's, demands for this, Disney was forced to hire and bring all those other musicians back in one place from all over America and brought them
That's
over
so
to
cool.
LA to record it. Yeah, for 9 days they were all there. It was very
Wow.
expensive, so I can only imagine probably like 100 people. But the Recollective Symphony, check them out. They're really awesome, really talented. And for other songs in the soundtrack, they used actual like African stars from different countries, which I think is really great too. So I might enjoy the soundtrack more than the movie. I don't know.
Well, speaking of oldie but goodies, hopefully, did y'all see the new Top Gun trailer, Top Gun 2?
I did. It looked pretty good. Very emotional.
Yeah, kind of a weird storyline. I didn't know how they were going to do that, and without really spoiling for nobody that has seen the first one, which, come on, really 30 years ago?
The spoiler warning has been lifted permanently.
Okay, so with the story from the first one to the second one, it's kind of interesting because what they show in the trailer in number 2, that he's been in the same position that he was from the
like
first
20
one
years.
for like 30 plus years, and he should be like
Jeez.
high ranking, and
Yeah.
kind of leaves a cliffhanger. And you're like, man, like what the heck happened? And does he really just love flying that much? Does he really love combat? Because the more he ranks up, the less combat he'll see. So
Oh, yeah.
I was getting chills just listening to that music. I was like, oh shoot, 'cause it's like one of my favorite movies.
So, given Tom Cruise's last stunt, literally and metaphorically, on the Mission Impossible movie, where he learned to fly helicopters and did that crazy stunt, like he was actually piloting this little helicopter. I'm pretty sure he had to learn how to fly a jet pilot, and he's probably flying the actual jets for some of these scenes.
Well, okay, so I'm not saying you're not correct, but I was like, well, I wonder if they did like that movie magic where it looks like he's flying. And I wonder if they're cheating a little bit with like actually putting him in there with an actual pilot and only showing him the view. I don't think so, but I wouldn't be surprised.
With the oxygen thing and the helmet on, like honestly, I don't know if you could really tell who it is piloting.
Well, it looks just like him. So, I mean, they could always, the new face swap that's been coming out.
True.
I don't know.
I couldn't find too much on the new movie, but I did find some really interesting tidbit about the old movie. And this is what I found. So in the original, the Navy actually made available some F-14s and F-5 jets for, the filming process to shoot like actual planes flying. Because their CGI was crap then.
Yeah.
And their practical effects were So they actually shot, of course, real jets doing their thing. But get this, they also donated an aircraft carrier for the film because that's in one of the shots. But the deal was the Navy said, hey, we'll give you these planes and this aircraft carrier for a few shots for free if you let us approve the script. So the Pentagon approved the script for Top Gun.
That's so cool.
What?
And yeah, they didn't charge them, rent or whatever or pay for these planes.
Yeah.
But they did say, but you got to pay for the fuel. Guess how much the fuel is for these jet fighters?
No.
$7,600 per hour per plane.
Wow.
And, they normally had 2 planes in some scenes, maybe 3 planes. I don't know. That's wow.
My big question is like, how much is the gas for the boat?
Oh gosh, 10,000 per minute.
That's the real question.
So I bet like the second those planes got off the air, the director was like, "All right, we're getting this shot for this part of the movie. Okay, next. This is like 30 minutes later, but get that shot now."
I need all the professionals to be flying. Go, go, go!
For real, I can't imagine what a project.
Ugh.
Well, yeah, so that's it. Top Gun's coming out. Looks pretty intense. And of course, there's a shirtless, sweaty volleyball scene.
Yeah, it's just not Tom Cruise.
Wouldn't be Top Gun without it.
Bunch of old men playing volleyball.
Oh, yeah. Old, sweaty man. I don't know. Tom Cruise is definitely going to rip his shirt off.
Okay.
All right, coming up soon is the Picard TV show on CBS All Access, which honestly, this and Star Trek is probably the only cool shows they even have. But
oh, dang.
This is a huge deal to Trekkies out there because Patrick Stewart is coming back. It's been like, I forgot what it was, 17 years or something like that since he's been on film for, Star Trek. But he's making a comeback, and it's kind of funny because in this show, like, he retired, but he came back to the stars eventually. He just couldn't stay out of space. And I feel like that's the same way in reality with him.
So he retired in the old TV show, right? Like he was no longer?
I don't know how the other shows ended with him, but in this show, it's revealed that he had retired at some point to his family like vineyard.
In this one, he comes back to current date, or does he pick up his role not too far from the TV show? That's what I was confused about when I was doing a little bit of research.
It's real time.
Okay.
Like he's actually like 20, 30 years, since... In his trailer, you can see there's this mysterious girl who's asking him for help.
Yeah.
There's also some Borg stuff going on, which is one of the huge bad guys of the Star Trek universe. And also 7 of 9, who was a Borg drone, which basically means it was someone who was assimilated into the Borg collective, and then they got out. They got disconnected and severed from the Borg hive mind. And she was one of the crew members. A really cool character, but she's back and still looks beautiful. So there's definitely a possibility of some Borg action going on. Maybe the Borg are coming back to Earth for a 3rd time or something, and this girl's connected to them. We don't know yet, but pretty exciting. I'm not going to pay for CBS All Access to watch this because I'm not a Star Trek junkie. I can definitely enjoy it. Like I would love to watch the new Star Trek show. It looks really cool. But I'm already paying for like 3 streaming services.
Yeah, especially now upcoming with all the new ones coming out. I'm like, man, I'm going to
sit down
and
Disney
Disney
Plus soon.
And HBO Go is starting to become a thing. I'm like,
then NBC is going to have their own streaming service and going to take The Office away.
Yeah.
Well, like Warner Brothers is going with HBO, Office, and Friends is going with HBO, and then everything Marvel's going with Disney. I'm like, man.
Like paying for cable again.
Woo!
Yeah, we try to get away from that. Yeah, HBO's starting a new thing called HBO Max, which just sounds like adult content, honestly.
Isn't HBO already?
It is. It pretty much is, I guess. I don't know. It fits them, it fits their character.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Their reputation.
Okay.
Speaking of streaming services, Netflix is done with season 1, I believe, of Witcher or The Witcher. I'm not sure how to
Superman.
Yeah, Henry Cavill plays Geralt, which is the main male character in the Witcher series video games.
I know a lot of people really enjoy the video game.
Yeah, it's been a
Yeah.
huge hit in the fantasy RPG world, and I know this show's really just gonna run with that and sweep up all those fans, and it's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
It's a pretty deep magical fantasy with dragons and creatures and beasts and stuff. He's actually the Witchers are a group of people that hunt powerful beasts, and they have magical powers themselves.
It's weird kind of seeing him with the white hair, though. Like, I know the the Witcher, the role already has white hair. I got that.
Yeah.
But the actor was seeing him with white hair. I'm like, whoa.
There's a shot in the trailer. He looks so buff. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm
like, is that real?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Is that
I don't know. He's a pretty buff dude. I mean, like
but he looks like Super Saiyan.
Yeah, but like you go back to some of his old stuff, and he used to be like a pencil. And when he got the role of Superman, the first one, Superman, Man of Steel, that dude went to like work to gain all that mass and all that muscle.
He looks like straight up Super Saiyan too.
He worked really hard and ate really good just for that one shot.
Just that one.
Yeah.
They do plan actors' diets out hardcore around their shirtless scenes because it takes a lot of like water purging and other stuff in order to look that lean.
Y'all remember the Guardians of the Galaxy where Chris Pratt takes his shirt and has his shirt off? He was like, I worked so hard for that shot, and then I ate whatever I wanted after.
I'm sure.
So this Witcher series is based off of some Polish books written by a Polish dude. Let's see if I can butcher his name. Andrzej Sapkowski. I'm sorry, Poland.
There you go. That's exactly how I would have said it.
Nailed it.
I've actually been to Poland for about 4 or 5 hours, and then I went back to Germany. It was beautiful. Yeah, we went across the border, chilled, and went to a little coffee shop, and then we went back to Germany, and it was beautiful.
I didn't even know you were even in Europe before.
Yeah. So these books started in 1994, and the most recent one I've seen, I think there was one written or released rather last year. So they've been going on for a while.
I had no idea they were books. That's crazy.
Yeah. They're very successful. They're like one of Poland's like big, like intellectual things. They're really proud of them.
Sure.
And when one of, I think it was Trump or maybe Obama visited, they gave him a copy of one of the books.
Are you serious? Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Our best contribution to the literary world.
Prize, and here you go.
They're real proud of them. It's that, like I said, the show is going to take place before the game trilogy, and it may center around Geralt, Yennefer, and Ciri's relationship. So they're going to have kind of those 3 main characters, and they've got some stuff going on. So cool. One of the many fantasy shows coming up to streaming services.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's going to do as well as like Game of Thrones.
I don't think so. It's pretty hard to top that.
Yeah.
I think Lord of the Rings will do better than Game of Thrones. But The Witcher doesn't have that big of a fan base.
Well, I mean, they have the books and they have the video game. Game of Thrones, do they have a book? I mean, I sound like a total noob when I say that.
How dare you?
How dare.
I'm unsubscribing right now. Yeah, they do. Got a bunch of books. They're still writing. J.R.R. Martin is taking a sweet time finishing the series. Hopefully he doesn't die first.
Oh, man. Wouldn't that be tragic?
All right, next up in the entertainment world is A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. This is Mr. Rogers. You guys see the trailer?
Again.
Good job, Tom Hanks.
Incredible.
I feel like he's going to be everybody. He was Walt Disney.
That's true, yes.
And now he's Mr. Rogers.
He needs to be Steve Jobs next.
It's crazy how he jumps in these roles and you kind of get lost in the character, but then you realize, oh, it's Tom Hanks.
Yeah. I know. I kind of feel that way, but I feel like he still works with this. But I didn't think he would have. But
I wonder, like, if people hate the people that hate Tom Hanks. They're like, "Oh my god, like stop!"
Wait, are there such things? It's like, have you seen that meme where it's like actors nobody hates, and it's like a meeting, Like one of them had like Keanu Reeves. I'm pretty sure Tom Hanks should be there too, because no one has dirt on them or hates them.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood when you were a kid?
I did a lot.
Not much. I think I've only seen it probably a few times as a kid because. I would watch other things, honestly.
I used to watch it all the time.
I don't know. I guess I found maybe him a little bit too cheesy even for me as a kid. Maybe I definitely appreciate him a lot more now as an adult than I did as a kid. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I didn't get into it. I was like, this is not real life. Like, no one comes home and does the same routine and just has a perfectly clean house, takes off their shoes, and switches a sweater every time. I don't know. I didn't get into it.
That's like my mom, honestly. So I believe that.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
The puppets scared me though. At least one of the puppets with the red cheeks. That's freaky.
Yeah,
Freaky
puppets
puppet.
are a little creepy by today's
Twisted.
standards.
Do you guys hear about the JFK episode?
No.
There's an episode of Mr. Rogers where he talks about JFK's assassination,
Oh
and
man.
he like straight up addresses it. And some people were like, "Yeah, that's so twisted and weird." But honestly, that was a different time, and also like, why not? Like that's real life, you know.
Yeah,
Kids
I
are
think
going to
that's
hear about
something he
it.
wasn't afraid to do is like
Yeah.
touch on serious subjects with kids and like
I think
let
it's
them
good.
know how to handle things properly. They even talked about like death and divorce and stuff on the
Yeah.
show. So I don't know, he did it in a good way.
That show was revolutionary because at the time he actually went to court to argue for having any kind of children's programming on TV.
I was just about to say, I think they made a documentary on him not too long ago.
Yeah, they came out like earlier this year, I think.
Yeah, that's why I was very confused because it was like documentary then movie, and I was like, wait, are they relaunching the documentary?
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing both movies, honestly. Although I feel like with this Tom Hanks one, I don't know if I can make it through it. I was getting emotional even just watching the trailer.
Yeah, it is very, very emotional, very beautiful. Did you guys ever hear about that chain letter email rumor that was going around about Mr. Rogers being a killer Marine sniper? Ever hear about that?
I didn't know it was like a chain letter thing. I thought I heard stuff like that. He was in the like the Marines or something. But
the only thing I ever heard was the reason he wore sleeves was because he actually had tattoo sleeves.
Yes.
Oh my god,
that's great. I love it because that was totally a thing in the 60s. You know?
I was gonna say what?
Get sleeve tattoos.
For Presbyterian ministers to do that.
Exactly. I think it's hilarious. I looked it up, and this was a chain email that started in like the late 90s, I think, maybe even earlier. Gosh. And it resurfaced in like the 2000s. Every 5 or 6 years, someone pops it back up, and then ignorant people are like, "Oh my gosh, have you heard about this?" And then they share it around, and it happens again. So I looked it up. The military actually has made an official statement some time ago about addressing this because it was such a big deal. So they said they pointed out that Mr. Rogers was born in 1928. It's impossible that he could have served in Vietnam because that was the thing, is that they said he was a sniper in Vietnam and he killed at least 150 people. Our beloved Mr. Rogers is a killer. No, it's impossible. He would have been too old to enlist and serve. Also, his entire career is like well documented. So we know where he was every year. Like after high school, he went to college for music. Right after that, he started this TV thing. And somewhere in that process, he also did a master's in divinity, and he's was a Presbyterian minister. Yeah. So he never served in the military. And I just think it's hilarious.
I actually saw some people take his face, put him on a Harley and a motorcycle with sleeves. I was like, that's the best thing. It's a t-shirt you could wear.
Hey, maybe Marvel's What If can do an alternate universe episode about Mr. Rogers being like Deadshot or something.
Oh my gosh.
Bob Ross, Mr. Rogers.
Did you see the meme I sent you guys at the VP group where it was at the end of the Mr. Rogers movie, there'll be like a scene with Bob Ross at the end introducing the PBS cinematic universe.
Oh, no. It's going to be Deadpool. It's going to be Deadpool.
All right, next, J.K. Rowling announced there are 4 new Harry Potter stories coming out.
That's interesting.
And yeah, I got super excited. I thought they were novels. I thought they were going to get turned into movies like within a year or two.
Yeah.
I had to pump my brakes a little bit because they're just short ebooks. Oh. Yeah, they're $2.99 each.
Oh, how cute.
Yeah, interesting. I guess she just got bored. I don't know. But
she does this a lot. Apparently on the internet, she'll just pump out like random facts that you didn't see in the books for her characters. Cool. Like she keeps coming up with new lore. And like, just let it die already. Just move on.
You can't. She had said at one point she'll never write another story. I'm like, whatever. You got so rich, it's going to come back eventually. Someone will pay you enough to write another darn story.
You got the taste of the money. He'll come back.
But so these are 4 short stories, and they're based around different magical curriculum lessons in the Hogwarts, school system. So, like the class names, there's like a book about that class. Like the Defense Against the Dark Arts is like a title of one of the stories, and then like Healing Potions and Remedies or whatever that class is another book. So, kind of interesting. I don't know what's happening inside them. I don't know what type of story or who the characters are, but if you just can't get enough of Harry Potter, they're there. And you can find them.
There you
go. That's crazy.
All the Potterheads out there.
Yeah. Honestly, the books are phenomenal, and so are the movies. I love them. What would you guys like to see? Like, if there was another trilogy or 5 movie set that came out in 10 years, what would you like to see explored in the Harry Potter universe? was there anything you felt like was deserving of a movie?
There's always something to nitpick that you want to see, but it's like, does it make sense, and is it worth money? Is it just like, I mean, I can sit here and fanboy about it and be like, oh yeah, no, I totally want to see that. But then, the people that have to make it, they're like, is it credible, and will we make money?
Yeah, will we make money? I would personally love to see a movie about Sirius Black. I feel like he was a really interesting character.
Yeah.
That you get little bits, at least in the movies. I'm sure there's more in the book, but in the movies, you kind of get little breadcrumbs like, oh, this guy's got this history, this, that. I would love to see more about him, and I would love to see a movie about James Potter.
Yeah.
And, them hooking up, and then there's Snape and all that drama, which there's much more in the books about that situation. But in the movies, I felt like I want to see more about this. Like, I want to forget Harry Potter. Let's go back in time and like see what happened, So that would be cool.
Yeah.
Maybe one day, although the actors are aging, so they have to fake their faces.
Especially
I don't know.
Harry. He's old.
Another thing I saw announced was the Rise of Skywalker's visual dictionary book cover has been released online.
I don't think we're ever going to get rid of the Skywalkers. I'm just going to put that out right now. Or somehow that name always shows up, which, I mean, it's fine. It's Star Wars, but sometimes I wish we could kind of get away from the Skywalker and let it kind of be a legend. I think we're getting there.
I think it's going to happen.
Well,
Broomstick Boy needs a movie.
Right? Broom Boy definitely needs his own movie.
Yeah, trilogy. Did you guys ever have these visual dictionary books from Star Wars?
Yep, but I've seen them before.
Oh, they're my favorite. I love them.
I mean, I've had the picture books, but I don't know if that's considered. Yeah. Okay, so
that's what it is. It shows all the props and stuff.
Yeah, I actually got one of those for my birthday my last birthday from you.
That's right. I was hoping you remember that.
I've had a few of them on and off in life. I don't know where they went, but then I got this one back, and I was like, "Oh snap! Look at that!"
I loved them. Growing up, I had one for I think the first trilogy, and then I had another set of books that were the cutaways. It was by a different artist, but they did like a cutaway of like all the major ships. And man, I love that book. Like that book influenced me a lot as a kid, as far as my creativity, my thinking practically about engineering. Even though I know it's a sci-fi ship, I know it's fake. But where are the engines and how big are they and where's the energy source coming from? Like stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like I would think very practical about fictional stuff, and it's fun for me. I like to engineer and design stuff like that. But those books really like challenged my brain and inspired me a lot, and I love them. I also had some cool ones about like castle cutaways. There was a Titanic cutaway. Those are great. They're very fun to look at.
And then they're also fun to have, like, if you see something in the movie, you're like, oh, what was that? Oh, wait.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah, you go back.
You can actually stop and look at it.
Yeah, and these visual dictionary books, they're all canon. Like the information in these books are canon. They're authorized, and they explain things that you'll never get in the movies.
Yeah,
like in the Solo one, there is a page I think that shows Dryden Voss. Was that his name? There's like a spread that shows his trophy room with all those cool artifacts, and it tells you what they are.
There's just so much random stuff.
Yeah, it shows you like what they are, where they came from, who the alien's head is that it came from. Like all these details that you'll never get anywhere, but you'll only know it if you have the book. So I like those books for that reason.
What a cool job that'd be.
Yeah, right. Like here, you got to come up with a backstory for this random piece of metal. Like
I can't imagine having a job like that.
I love it. I'm a world building junkie, so that I would like gobble that up. So yeah, the visual dictionary for episode 9 is coming, and we see on the front, we see one of the Knights of Ren, and we see yet another TIE fighter. Woo! You just can't have a new Star Wars movie without a new TIE fighter design and a new Stormtrooper design. My goodness.
Impressive.
Gotta sell them toys.
You can find a chart of like all 50 freaking Stormtrooper types, and it's like, really? Come on. A little overkill. Also in the news, before we get to the fun Disney stuff, I guess this is Disney and Marvel, In-Game has passed up Avatar as the highest grossing film of all time. Woo.
Some people are like, woo. Some people are like, no.
How do you guys feel about that?
I'm all for it.
I love In-Game. But this whole thing of them re-releasing the theater release again, just to make records, like, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing.
It was to make records.
It's completely fair because Avatar did the same exact thing.
They did?
They did. They re-released Avatar and put in extra content.
What?
They did.
I didn't know that.
Cheating up front.
I think it was several years. I think it was several years later. I can't remember. Like if you go wiki it, it's in there somewhere in that article. Okay. And I remember it happening because people love seeing it in the theater because that was the main draw. It was really cool to see on the big screen with the 3D and stuff. So they re-released it.
That's cheating. They're like, how are we going to make the records be broken? re-release.
Just like Avatar did.
Mm-hmm.
No, like back then, Avatar was like, we got to beat Titanic.
When you're the only competition is yourself, that's pretty awesome.
Take that, James Cameron.
Well, here's something to think about. So Avatar did not have a pre-existing franchise. It did not have a fan base except for the marketing and trailers. It didn't have anything. It was a brand new creation out of nowhere.
It is crazy.
Avengers have 21 movies and like 60 plus years of comic book history of fans.
Yeah.
And old and new. So I think I'm more impressed by Avatar.
I know. I am too. And I just like, how in the heck did they manage to make so much money off of that movie?
It's insane.
Well, you know what's crazy?
Weird.
Like, is like the girl that plays in Avatar, I think her name's Zoe Zadata. Yeah, she was in Avatar, but she's also in the MCU.
Oh, yeah.
So she's doing real good.
Is she Gamora?
Yeah. That's awesome.
She's probably real proud to be in the top 2 grossing movies of all time.
Yeah, something to put on a resume.
Yeah.
I wasn't impressed by Endgame's re-release though. Like they added a new end credit scene, but it was unfinished. I just feel like
I didn't see it.
So non-Marvel.
There's a new one?
Well, when they did the re-release of Endgame, right? There's a new end credit scene, and it's literally an unfinished pre-viz scene where Hulk is like saving some people in the street. It's not even a big deal. Like, it doesn't affect
That's so
much.
stupid.
They released it to get you the thoughts of Hulk because they wanted to let you know there's another Hulk movie coming out.
It looks like a PlayStation 2 cutscene. Like it's bad.
I thought it was going to be like a deleted scene sort of thing.
No.
Me too.
Like
I'm thinking, they're going to add for sure at least 20 to 30 minutes of like movie scenes. There was like 1 minute added.
Yeah, that's really lazy.
Very lazy, and I just was not impressed. I'm like,
that's funny.
Guys, you can't think of anything cooler for they're known for the end credit scene. Like they made the end credit scene thing.
Even in other like franchises, people are still waiting after the movies. Like, what are we going to see? What are we going to see? It's like, oh, this isn't Marvel.
Even TV shows are doing like Stranger Things had an end credit scene. For goodness sake,
yeah, it's crazy. Netflix is like, we got to
Marvel.
compete.
And so we were like, well, to finish a CGI scene like that takes a lot of money and time. I'm like, it's freaking Marvel and Disney. They got money.
They made 25 movies. I think they're good.
But whatever. Wow. Congrats to everyone making a bunch of money and, not ending world hunger and anything helpful with humanity. Whatever. I'm not bitter. I'm just saying.
Oh, my God.
I could probably feed a few countries that need it. It's cool. All right, so let's get on with Disney and Marvel announcement at the San Diego Comic-Con.
Let's just say we all thought it was over, and then they were like, guys, don't worry, we got you. Boom.
It's really interesting. So their announcements were concerning Phase 4, which is different than all the other phases. There's a lot of TV shows involved, and you're going to have to pay for Disney Plus if you want to really follow Phase 4.
I want to do it.
Money.
Bye, Netflix.
Thank you.
Can't wait until they all come out and just do like the 1 month free trial and binge it.
Oh, nice.
Netflix is lucky that they have Stranger Things doing so well, because if that wasn't doing well, I don't know if they'd be a service after Plus comes out.
Stranger Things is over. They're gonna have to keep it going with something big. They do have some big stuff going.
They got new seasons coming out, but like once that's over, it's like, well.
Disney Plus opens in like 2 months. But I'm wondering, like, what are they going to do in September to combat Disney Plus?
Half the price.
Maybe The Witcher or something. I don't know. Yeah, they should.
Yeah, that would totally be kind of nice.
That'd be hilarious.
For all grandfather, all the people that are in by this day will half your price by a couple dollars.
What if Netflix did like their own superhero expanded universe kind of stories? That'd be cool. They
do have the Umbrella Academy.
Oh yeah,
I guess. True. I heard it was decent. I haven't watched it yet.
They should reboot Heroes. That'd be awesome.
That would get a lot of people's attention.
Now, Angela, you have so nicely organized these in timelines. Yes. So we're going to go through these shows and a few movies based on their storyline or release timeline. Which one is it? Or both?
I think it's both. Well, no, I think it's just release timeline.
So first on the list is Black Widow, which we've been waiting for 20 movies. 22, 23 movies. Like, seriously, come on. So this is coming out May 1st, 2020. Super excited.
So far away.
I know.
It's true.
So David Harbour of Stranger Things is playing the Red Guardian, which this is hilarious to me. Get this. The Red Guardian is a Russian super soldier. A Russian.
Named Alexei.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so funny. Please tell me you're joking.
No, I'm not.
His name is Alexei.
On his wiki thing, it says Alexei Shostakov.
That's too perfect. If anyone out there doesn't know why we're just losing our minds, you need to go watch Stranger Things season 3 and then listen to our episode, but also mainly watch the show because that is too funny.
It's like this is a weird multiverse situation or something.
First, he's fighting and he's literally fighting Russians, and now he's a Russian fighting Americans.
Well, it should be good for him to be around it. Now he'll be able to pick up the dialect.
Yeah, right. I want to hear him speak or sound Russian.
Yeah, I remember there was an interview. They were trying to get him to do it, and he's like, "Oh, you'll just have to pay for the movie."
So the Red Guardian is basically the equivalent of Captain America, but for Russia.
Oh, shoot.
Wow.
I'm guessing they use their own super soldier serum, and boom, we've got the Red Guardian. So he's not even the main villain of the movie. The main villain, from what I've read, is Taskmaster.
I hadn't seen anything about that.
That doesn't sound like a villain at all. Sounds like somebody that works like a...
I think I've heard of him somewhere, but...
Sounds like a manager of a grocery store.
It sounds like an IT department.
Like the shift manager.
So our Black Widow, Natasha, is going to be handing off her mantle to a future Black Widow. But it's weird because this takes place in between Civil War and Infinity War.
Whoa.
So it's kind of like we haven't heard anything about this other Black Widow, right? Obviously, because what happened in Infinity War and Endgame. But she's out there somewhere in the MCU Earth going to rise and become noticed somehow. Soon. What? So there's a handoff to a new generation of the next Black Widow. And it's been also released that there will be multiple Black Widows in the movie. And how that works is...
a lot of spiders.
Yeah, spiders everywhere. Spider. So the Russians have a Black Widow program which raises up young women to become super assassins, right? And they're all called Black Widows because they come out of the Black Widow program. So Natasha's just one of them that happened to go good and worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. But there's like 20-ish, Black Widows out there in the world somewhere.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, the new Black Widow, her character name is Yelena, or Yelena. I don't know how to say it.
I think at San Diego, they showed a fight scene that they had already filmed. I don't think it was finished.
Whoa, I want to see it.
Yeah, it was between Yelena and Natasha, and they teased that they were sisters.
Oh,
but
shoot.
I don't know. I doubt that's biological. I bet it's just because they were in the same program.
They're opposing forces because obviously Natasha works for S.H.I.E.L.D. / America, and Yelena is still a Russian, loyalist. But eventually something's going to change. I don't know. We'll see. That's what the movie's about. I'm assuming. So that's exciting.
I wonder if they're going to show anybody from the MCU that we've seen in the last 25 movies outside of Black Widow in that series.
I don't know. If she's on a kind of her own solo thing into Russia or dealing with that, it may not have to show anybody else, but it easily could.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
So I think after that movie comes out, next in that Phase 4 timeline, they're going to release The Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney Plus in the spring of 2020.
Sweet.
And the only thing that they've said so far is Anthony Mackie, who plays the Falcon, is going to take up the Captain America role, which follows the comics.
Yep.
So many versions of Captain America.
Including a Russian one.
And apparently somebody saw on the Marvel logo that there's a zombie one.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
If you look at the Marvel logo and you use a magnifying glass.
They show it?
Yeah, it's in one of the letters. You'll see Captain America as a skull, and he's wearing the Captain America hat.
And of course, Sebastian Stan's going to come back as a Winter Soldier. But then they also have the actor who plays Zemo come back. And the actress who played Sharon Carter is returning as well.
Who's Sharon Carter?
Isn't she the one who was in, what was it? The Winter Soldier Captain America movie?
That Steve made out with?
Yeah.
Who he's not related to, after all. I was corrected.
Thank God.
I think that's her. I think that's Peggy's granddaughter. If I'm remembering right.
Or niece.
Or something. I don't know. And there's going to be 6 episodes of that one. That's
only 6? That's all?
So I know. I felt like that was really
like Disney's
short.
playing with our emotions. So like, we're going to bring you
just stringing us along.
Just pay all this money. You get 6 episodes of a TV show.
It's like a dealer just giving a little sample of a drug. You're going to come back for more. No, you will. When's that coming out?
They say it's spring of 2020.
Man, 2020 is going to be a big year for a lot of things.
Super nerdy.
The Eternals is coming out at the end of 2020 in November.
Oh my
goodness. So curious about this.
Yeah, because I have never heard of the Eternals. I'm like, okay, what is this about? So I looked it up, and I guess how all this starts is back like 5 million years ago in the past, alien race called the Celestials experimented with them and created the Eternals. So it almost sounds like an Inhuman situation, but
interesting.
The Eternals, I guess they're longer alive, way more powerful, and they also created, along with the Eternals, there's a more destructive and more grotesque and creature-like counterparts called the Deviants. So they have to protect the Earth against the Deviants, and that's about as much as I'm aware of.
Thanos is actually a deviant hybrid.
Is he really?
I think he's like Titan deviant hybrid, something like that. There's some deviant in him. So the hierarchy of powerful beings, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, is top of the line as far as we're concerned with this context is the Celestials, which Ego was the Celestial.
Oh, okay.
And then below them, they made the Eternals. And did the Celestials also make the Inhumans? I'm not really a little fuzzy on the Inhumans. No, that's the Kree. Oh, okay. Kree made the Inhumans. And then below that, of course, is like the rest of the general races, like humans, stuff like that.
Yeah. And then there's like people like the Collector. Or like
oh, my goodness.
Between, like right below the Celestials or something. There's a lot of weird.
I need a flowchart.
Demigod stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I know, for real.
So there's some big actors in Eternals I'm super excited about. Angelina Jolie.
So weird to me, honestly. You think she's too big of an actress to be in a Marvel movie? Because you're going to be distracted.
They totally set it up. At the panel, they totally waited to put her last because she was the biggest name.
Yeah.
I felt bad for the other actors. And a little girl named, her actor name is Leah McHugh. She's playing Sprite. I guess there's like a young or a small Eternal. Looks like a child. So interesting.
Will she look like a child then?
I don't know. I mean, if it's coming out in 2020, I'm sure they're shooting it right now or already have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're also making a big deal that this movie is going to have the first deaf superhero in the MCU.
Huh.
So
interesting.
Yeah, there's that.
Concerning like diversity and representation of stuff, I think this is cool because Eternals is being directed by Chloe Zhao, who is a Chinese American film director, and I think that's awesome. We get a lady, she's Chinese, that's different. I love it. So, yay.
Woo. Speaking of diversity.
Yeah, speaking of diversity, speaking of Asian, Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings.
Ooh.
Which is
another property I've never heard of before.
Another unfamiliar thing.
Yeah. Learning a lot.
We've got some comic books to read. So this is coming out in February 12th of 2021. So now we're into 2021.
Goodness.
Yep. And some awesome martial arts. Apparently this guy is, what is he? The master of Kung Fu?
Master of Kung Fu is what I read his description.
I mean, I guess he's like brushing aside the Iron Fist. I'm pretty sure the Iron Fist was that. But
yeah, whatever. I'm very confused. But apparently later on in the comic series, he learns how to create infinite duplicates of himself. So he's also Naruto, along with Bruce Lee.
He's also Mary Sue.
Yeah.
What can't you do?
I don't know if they're going to get into that with his like first appearance, but we'll see.
Yeah. Am I the only one that thinks of Lord of the Rings when I hear this title? The 10 Rings?
The 10 Rings. The 10 Rings.
No, you're not the only one.
Is there one to rule them all? Please let there be one to rule them all. I also, for some reason, am thinking of Jackie Chan Adventures, that old cartoon. Did you ever watch that?
I did, but I don't remember a whole lot from it.
It was campy and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like the MacGuffin of the show, which is like the thing that they're always searching for and trying to protect and keep. Are these little talismans? They look like little stone coins, and they have different powers, which is really cool. It was fun in the story, but I feel like these rings are maybe magical in power. I don't know.
Maybe.
He's got 10 fingers.
Yeah, I think.
I'm assuming he has 10 fingers. Let me not assume and offend somebody out there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Is there another 10 set for the toe rings? I don't know.
Oh my lord. It's getting weird.
After that, yes, let's please move on. Is WandaVision coming out Disney Plus? This is a show and it's coming out in spring 2021.
So far away.
I know. Why do they even tell us?
Yeah, right. Just tell me when we get there, please.
So they announced on the live panel at San Diego Comic-Con. They totally got me stoked, and I know it will get you excited too. They announced that Kiana Paris is going to play an adult Monica Rambeau. Yes, Lieutenant Trouble is official. And I totally told y'all.
Makes sense.
Yeah, no, I told you.
We told each other.
And she's beautiful. I have not seen this actress before, but she is totally beautiful, and I'm super excited about having that character show up. And how is she going to play in? Why is she with Vision and Wanda? I don't know. We'll see. But WandaVision, the show and the story, will actually play directly into the next release, which will be the Doctor Strange multiverse movie.
That we definitely have to get Disney Plus to probably understand everything.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's like a drug. You have to get at all.
All right, so we all throw our money in, and then we all just get the password and email for each other to share.
Yeah.
We'll have a Visionary Variety account.
No, we won't do that at all, Disney.
What are you talking about?
That's hilarious.
Sorry, Disney. I don't know what we were talking about. Just
I'll send you a Venmo request to pay me back. Awesome. So this movie is Multiverse of Madness, which is kind of cheesy.
It is a little cheesy, but
over the top. But I'm going. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited about Multiverse because I haven't seen Far From Home, but my wife did. Which I'm still a little bitter about. But she pretty much told me that the multiverse thing that Mysterio was talking about in the trailer, yeah, I'm not going to spoil it. But we basically need to undo an entire episode that we recorded because of that very trailer about the Marvel multiverse. That part. But now it's for real, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what I've heard. I mean, if this title is not reflecting anything, it's a big old lie, and that's not cool.
This is being directed by Scott Derrickson, who is known for horror films such as The Exorcism of Emily Rose, good family movie there. Also Sinister and Sinister 2. So
that's where the madness comes in.
Yeah. This kind of works because apparently they want to make this a more horror-themed movie, which is different.
How do y'all feel about that?
I mean, I doubt it's going to be rated R, so I'm sure I'll be okay.
I don't know how I feel about that. Because I feel like the MCU kind of needs to stay PG-13 if they're going to try to keep a wide variety of audience.
We're getting into more stuff later that shows they're not going to stay that way. There's stuff like in the early days that was definitely not completely family-friendly and was creepy. And we'll get into that later.
Like in the comics, you mean?
Yes, and with previous movies. So
okay, all
we'll
right.
get into that. But cool. I mean, I'm interested in a different tone because I feel like lately all the movies are sort of like becoming the same, like the same sort plot lines and stuff.
It's either funny or it's serious and people are dying.
Yeah.
Two temperatures we have.
Yeah. So I'm interested in something different.
Yep. Did you guys watch the Comic-Con panel where they were doing these announcements?
No.
A little bit.
You got to find it. There's like a highlights one that's only like 11 minutes long. It's kind of jumps through the highlights. But one of the highlights for this movie is when everybody sings Benedict Cumberbatch Happy Birthday, which it was like the day before the event.
Aww.
And it is so cute and hilarious how he responds to everybody singing him Happy Birthday.
Aww.
Has anyone ever like sang you the song and you don't know what to do? Like, what do you do when people sing you any kind of song? It's kind of awkward, right?
Around the room, I guess.
Well, watch and take notes from Benedict Cumberbatch because that is the proper response when people sing you Happy Birthday.
Okay.
It's hilarious. So I was was smiling from ear to ear just watching that little bit. I love me some Doctor Strange. I'm not a horror film guy. I'll make an exception for this, but like, I don't know, how is it going to be scary? Like freaky multidimensional monsters?
I don't know. Jump scares. I've heard that the villain for this movie is named Nightmare, but I'm not sure. So maybe he's got like a scarecrow from Batman sort of thing going on. I don't know.
Well, with your fears or whatever.
Yeah, maybe. So I think next on the timeline that they showed the Disney Plus Loki series coming out that spring too in 2021.
Like I mentioned earlier, with the multiverse thing kind of being a bait and switch with Far From Home, but then Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness sort of seems like it's going to be confirming the multiverse existence within the MCU. This Loki show is for sure confirming the multiverse existence because a little bit of a spoiler, if you haven't seen Endgame, they go back in time to get a stone. Loki grabs a stone because something goes wrong and he disappears. So he just ruins the plan right then and there. And Loki has the space stone and is gone, like gone. So they have to time travel again to redo their plan. But that means Loki somewhere in the multiverse has the space stone at a time where he shouldn't have had it, according to the original Avengers film. So we've got a multiverse now, or we've got an alternate timeline rather, with Loki with a space stone, and
They're just finding new ways to bring Tom Hiddleston back because people like him way too much.
All the ladies love him. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Hopefully it's not another 6-episode piece of junk.
I know, right? They didn't say any other episode lengths besides for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so hopefully they're not all super short like that, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right, next up in the lineup is in summer of 2021, Disney Plus is putting out a Marvel show called What If? And in this show, it's an animated show. I don't know if it's CGI or like how well. I don't know if it's like kid level or like.
I wonder if it is going to be CGI. I mean, like cartoon.
Bruh, they made it like the Spider-Verse movie.
Oh man.
Well, I mean, there's already a YouTube like how it should have ended, so I wonder if they're gonna do a what if kind of thing.
I love those videos. They are so funny.
Yeah.
So What If is going to cover different alternate, what if universes. Like, for instance, one they have released is what if Peggy Carter got the super serum instead of Steve Rogers?
Buff Peggy.
Yeah, bulked out Peggy punching through walls.
Wonder Woman.
Kevin Feige said, we're going to see their roles in very different forms, referring to the different heroes that we're used to.
Wow.
So, like, they could be gender swapped. They could be a reporter instead of a superhero, or they could be, the sidekick of someone that was never a hero before.
It's just this legit fan fiction being made, honestly.
Yeah, it is. It's brought to life. So Jeffrey Wright was announced as the Watcher, who's going to be narrating something. And maybe every episode's going to have narration or intro outro. Whoa. But the Watchers are this like awesome, huge, again, a very high ranking, high powerful, pretty much out of time alien race.
Probably. I feel like it's going to be like the Twilight Zone or something where they have Rod Serling narrating it occasionally. It's going to be like that.
Or in this case, Jeffrey Wright.
Right.
Next in the lineup for 2021, this is in fall, Disney Plus is putting out a Hawkeye series. And don't know a whole lot about it other than that it will be introducing Kate Bishop. And Kate Bishop is going to be the next Hawkeye. So according to Wikipedia and the comic books, she was in the Young Avengers team, which if you listen to previous episodes is very exciting to me because I'm hoping for an epic Young Avengers movie series. Leaning towards that. And Monica Rambeau will be like their captain,
Oh man, she'll be the new Nick Fury or something. Well, I gotta say, I'm a little bit disappointed when I heard about what the show's gonna be about, because concerning Hawkeye, I never really got into his character as much as I would have liked, because I didn't know enough about him, and I was like, man, it's too bad he doesn't have his own origin story. So I thought maybe this series was gonna get more into like his character.
It could.
It could, but he's also passing on the Hawkeye title. And it's probably mainly going to be about Kate Bishop. And I'm like, no.
but it could also have some good flashback material in there too.
It could. It's just not what I was expecting when I heard the Hawkeye series. I was like, oh, finally we get to see more about Hawkeye. Cool. And then it's like, oh.
Jamie Renner's getting old. They can't make him look like young Hawkeye.
Dun, dun, dun.
But there's always room for prequel flashbacks and PTSD and stuff like that.
It's true.
All right, next on the lineup in 2021 still, on November 5th, Thor, Love and Thunder. It sounds like a really bad romance novel. Just Love and Thunder part.
The love and feeling.
Definitely sounds like an 80s power ballad.
Right?
It does.
But I'm okay with that. So.
And the graphic looks kind of 80s too.
Yeah, it's fine.
They're trying to compete with Wonder Woman 1984. I don't know.
There you go.
So Natalie Portman is going to be the next Thor. And I don't know if that means she'll take on that name because that's Thor's name.
I know. I don't know how that works in the comics.
What they call her?
I don't know.
They got married.
She's not Asgardian. This is very confusing, but she's worthy apparently. Even though all she knows is weather and technology, she is worthy of that hammer. There are so many other more qualified battle experienced women that could be the next Thor.
Yeah, kind of out of everything that was going on, that one was the biggest. Like, what?
Yeah. Well, when they gave her the hammer on stage at the release thing, and it was like the people were losing their mind. It was great.
Yeah.
I always wanted to be on a panel like that.
That would be fun. I'm a huge Natalie Portman fan. Ever since Star Wars, I just really like her, and she's funny too. Like she's done some really crazy stuff on SNL. And that just makes me love her more. She's very funny.
Nice.
So Thor Love and Thunder is taking place before Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Whoa.
Which is going to lead into possibly the next phase. And Guardians of the Galaxy 3 doesn't have a release date yet. That's the weird thing.
No, because James Gunn's got to make the new Suicide Squad movie. So
yeah. Is that a sequel or reboot?
I think it's a reboot, but I'm not sure.
Oh, great. I'm totally pumped for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I just really want to see it.
All these new movies and TV shows are great, but when are we going to get Adam freaking Warlock?
That's all I want to see.
Goodness. Okay, so am I the only one that thinks it's weird that, was it Rocket or was it Root that stole that battery or form thing that made them so mad that they made this superhuman?
They're sore losers. They've got some issues. They're supposed to be like highly evolved humans. I'm like, come on, really, guys?
That's how evolved they are. Overkill. They get so pissed off. They're like, superhuman.
They make one of the most powerful beings in the universe because of that.
That's great.
Yeah. I'm hoping he'll be a big formidable foe against Galactus, which I'm predicting will be one of the super villains to take Thanos' place.
Very possible, because they teased at a new Fantastic Four movie. So.
Yeah. And Galactus is the one that finally destroys the universe. I think it was released in a recent comic book where Galactus like ends the universe. Just it's over. Everything's done.
Alrighty.
And they got some interesting casting coming from Adam Warlock. So
lots of options.
Like first, the top one being like Zac Efron. I'm like, oh boy, it's gonna be a musical.
All right, so that's enough for Thor 4, which we should just call the 4. Next is the Blade reboot. Is a big announcement.
Yeah, they don't know when it's going to come out yet, but it's in the works. And then they got, I'm going to butcher this guy's name. I just know it. But
Please,
they got
be my guest.
Mahershala Ali. I'm just going to call him Ali because
Shamalunga ding dong.
Mr. Ali.
He will be playing Blade. And what's interesting is because he was already in another Marvel property. In Luke Cage, he played Cottonmouth. So that's leading a lot of people to think that, oh man, maybe these Netflix shows are not canon. Like they were kind of thought.
So who played the original Blade?
Wesley Snipes. But the first Blade movie came out in 1998, so he's probably a bit too old to play Blade now. And those were the movies I was referencing earlier, where how Marvel kind of had a more dark and not as family friendly tone before. Because those movies are definitely rated R. I've never seen them, but full of vampires and lots of creepy things. So it makes me wonder how this movie's going to be when it gets rebooted, if it's going to be just as dark.
They've got to keep that reputation. They can't sugarcoat it and make it like family friendly. It's a scary vampire story.
And that's
with monsters and sex and stuff.
That's really freaky to think that there's been vampires and stuff in the Marvel universe this whole time.
It is. the Blade movie actually was one of the earliest successful superhero movies, like kind of in a semi-modern or pre-modern era.
Yeah.
That really launched the possibility. Like people were saying, hey, like people want to see comic books as movies. Let's try to get this going. There's a bunch of flops after that, but it got a trend started, which led to where we are now.
Yeah, got 3 movies. People consider it like the unofficial kickstart to superhero movies become popular again. And Spider-Man 1 just kind of like made it official.
And family friendly.
Yeah.
I feel like Blade, the original Spider-Man, and the original Hulk movies were kind of like these undercurrent movies that were just coming about before the MCU was like, oh.
Yeah, it was. I hope that Wesley Snipes has a cameo in the Blade movie.
That would be so cool. He gave his blessing for these movies, so...
Yeah. Well, this episode being a nerdy news and stuff episode is due for a little bit of science here. I got to end the episode with this. So last week we had a huge anniversary. It was an interplanetary anniversary of the moon landing. Kind of a big deal. 1969. Okay. So I wanted to read a few random facts that I found because I love random facts and I like space.
Okay. Fire away.
So sit down and learn something so you can start an interesting conversation about it and make someone think that you're really smart. All right. So first fact, you ready? Is did you know that the flag was seen by Buzz Aldrin falling over as they lifted off the moon?
Oh, that's sad.
It fell over. The flag that we all think is standing straight in space is dead.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very embarrassing.
Okay.
The NASA denied it. The government denied it for a long time, even though a photo in 2012 like confirmed it visually that there was no shadow left. There was a blob, but there's no cast shadow. So it's down, and that's super embarrassing.
Well, I want that to be my job. Can I go stand the flag up, please?
Fix it. Someone's got to fix it. We got to fix our reputation. You know, a little sturdy. Make a more sturdy flag. But yeah, when they took off from the moon to come back, just the exhaust pushed it over. They couldn't go very far away from the module, so it was like 10 feet away. And yeah, knocked over. Next is Armstrong carried with him a piece of wood from an airplane that belonged to the Wright brothers onto the moon. That's pretty cool.
That's interesting.
That's neat. A little piece of aeronautical history.
Did he just leave it there?
I didn't say that. I said he had it with him.
Oh.
And it was like a little piece of wood. I don't know how big this piece of wood was.
If you left it there, it would have been littering.
Next is after returning to Earth, the astronauts had to be placed in quarantine for 21 days. And they had to sign papers stating what was on board on their aircraft.
Okay. Make sure they didn't bring back anything freaky, I guess.
Which was moon rocks. I mean, what do you expect? Next, the astronauts left pictures of human beings and recordings of many languages on the moon's surface, hoping that one day an alien would find it. Although, honestly, since there's no atmosphere on the moon, Radiation is no joke, and it's probably fried those pictures to a crisp.
That's sad. So, well,
okay. Recordings too probably are dead for good. So, hey, they tried. It was nice thought.
Right.
I wonder what the recording said.
We come in peace. Please don't destroy our planet down there.
Or it's totally opposite. NASA just set us all up to fail and be like, you see that blue planet? Blow it up if you hear it.
That's the real.
We got nuclear weapons, and we know what that means. We're going to destroy the whole galaxy.
Oh.
Come at me, bro. That's what it said.
It's terrible.
Your mom, come at me, bro. Click.
Well, that's double. All right. Next factoid is, that famous line that says, "This is one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Well, Armstrong claims that he had the word "a" in there. He claims that he said that's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. And
yes,
the recording's a little fuzzy, a little muffled, but that's what he says.
Okay.
Kind of like, Luke, I'm your father.
True.
He never says that.
Right.
Michael Collins was a third person that went to the moon. However, he was the pilot, so he stayed in the piece that was orbiting around the moon to pick the guys up, or to catch them, rather.
That sucks.
So, yeah, isn't that sad? Like, to be the one guy that didn't set foot on the moon.
No, it's like, Neil, take my place. I want to go stay.
I literally better come back to some really great benefits.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just letting everybody know I orbited around the whole moon. I had more risk.
Yeah, right. No one mentions his name. I never knew that there was a third guy in the mission.
That's sad.
Next is NASA lost 11 tapes of footage from the moon trip.
Oh,
how does that happen? I don't know.
Because they hung out with the alien friends and they're like, "Hey, we got to get rid of these." Like, okay.
It seems very suspicious, honestly. Like
you can't be that irresponsible.
Yeah, they collect the tapes. You know how NASA is in militaries. They're crazy with stuff like that. You can't just lose 11 tapes.
See, it's things like that you make think Area 51, come on.
Appreciate it. Conspiracy theorists love this stuff. It's definitely conspiracy fodder. And the last one is a pin assisted in the lunar ascent off the moon. So I think it was Armstrong accidentally damaged a circuit breaker while moving around in the ship. And, that's not good. You need those circuits to not be broken.
Hundreds of hours of practice on Earth and the oops in the space.
Oops, my elbow. Yeah, so he used a pin and shoved it in there and made contact, and the circuit was back online. Saved his life.
That probably was scary.
Good thing he had the MacGyver skills to do that. Otherwise, who knows what would happen.
Yeah, and a metal pin. Imagine if everything was like plastic.
There was this video re-looping back on YouTube from an old, news report. I don't know if it ever went live, of somebody interviewing Buzz Aldridge, basically like paparazzi style, bugging him, and and he was like, "Just let us know it's fake. It's fake. You didn't go to the moon." He's like, "Get out of my face."
I called him a coward or something.
And then the dude just straight up punched him. I was like, "Oh, dang."
Yeah.
It was like a hard hit.
Buzz punched the conspiracy theorist.
Cool.
Oh, he deserved it. How's that for a flat earth?
Oh my gosh.
That's
great.
All right. Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you guys for listening. We'd love to hear back from you all about what you're most excited about. Any of the shows, the TVs, the trailers, or if you have any interesting moon factoids, I'd love to hear those too. Well, thanks again for listening, and we'll be with you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you like this show, be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app. You can also find our previous episodes there and listen whenever you want. We love to hear from our listeners, so if you have any comments or suggestions for future episodes, you can reach us at tvvpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and have a great week.
Could that guy be Uncle? I don't know. I'm a
Uncle
bunny
Ben.
Uncle Snipes.
Uncle
With
West.
great swords comes great responsibilities.
My lord.